Hey friends, it's me, Just Tamika. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First off, it's free. Did I say that? Yes, you heard it. It's free. And there are many creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. So there's no need to rush out and buy any unnecessary equipment. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many others. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Yes, you heard me. No minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. So go ahead and download the Anchor app today. Go to anchor.fm to get started. And can't wait to hear your first podcast. Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of Just Tamika. I know it's been a while since we've hung out, but I'm back and this is March. It is National Women's Month. I am with a young woman today who is someone near and dear to my heart, and I find her to be very inspirational. She's someone who inspires me. We have Miss Adeline Griffin here. Adeline, would you like to say hello to the people?
Hello.
So today we're going to talk to Miss Adeline about just what it's like being a young woman in today's times, and just checking with her about maybe what inspires her, what she would want to say to others to inspire and encourage them, and maybe even, give her past self some advice from the future. What would you tell yourself, your younger self, sort of thing. So enjoy the ride as we get started. So, Miss Adeline, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe your age, some of your hobbies or things that you're into, some interests.
I'm 15. I like to draw. I like plants. I like to sing. I like to watch anime, and I think I would consider myself to be creative.
I would agree. How would you say that you spend the majority of your downtime?
Taking a nap.
A good nap is always a great thing to recharge. What about when you're not napping?
I'm drawing or listening to music or watching TikTok.
Or both. What are some of your current favorite animes right now?
I would have to say my top 3 is going to be Tokyo Revengers, Karate no Basketball, and Free All Toy Swim Club.
So, this being Women's Month, let's talk about some of the female characters. Are there very many female characters that are, that you find inspirational, or what do you think?
There aren't a whole lot of female characters in, Karate no Basketball or Free All Toy Swim Club or Tokyo Revengers, but, my favorite from Tokyo Revengers would be Yazuha, which is Hakai's sister. And then my favorite one from Karate no Basketball, my top 3 favorites is Momoe and Riko, which I know that's only 2. My third one's Go from Free Toy Swim Club.
Okay. So the people like me who do not know very much about these characters, break it down. What speaks to you about these? These are the ladies, right?
Yeah.
So what do you what catches your interest about these particular characters?
Yazuha's super cool. Usually in Tokyo Revengers, the 2 girls that are in Tokyo Revengers the most, Emma and Hina, I think they can fight, but I don't really think they'd be fighting like that.
Okay. So they can take care of themselves if they have to, but they really are much more reserved and not really your brawlers.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the others that you mentioned? Because I don't remember their names. I can't say them.
Momoe and Riko's she's the coach for the boys basketball team on Karate no Basketball, which usually the rest of the coach on that the rest of the coaches on that show are all dudes, and not only that, she's managing to coach them while she's still in she's still only a second year in high school.
Wow.
I mean, she has to stay on top of her grades, make sure that they're on top of their grades, make sure that they're actually they can play and that they're good at it. And then Momoe is the assistant coach for a different team, which she basically has to do the same thing, except for she's a first year.
Okay, and just to be clear, this particular anime has to do with which sport team? Is this the volleyball?
Basketball.
Oh, basketball. Okay, because I know you watch one about volleyball too. It gets a little bit confusing for me, but that's okay. I like the funny animes like One Punch Man, you know. So as a young woman of 15, soon to be 16 in 2 months, what is the most frustrating thing about being your age? Or what do you think? Is there like a one thing you think of, or are there a few things?
Well, I'm not really sure, but like maybe it would be considered. It'll be like how nobody really knows what they want to do, or like I can't really describe it, but like I'll be in an argument with somebody, and like they'll say one thing, but then they'll say something that contradicts the first thing, and it just doesn't make sense.
Okay. I will say that, yeah, because you're Gen Z. You guys confuse me sometimes too. Yeah. So, what about, speak specifically about being a girl though, like a female, I'll say. What is hard about being your age and being your gender today? Do you find, so like back in I'll share, I'm Gen X. So back in my day, I think why I embrace girl power so much is because, girls were always told to be girly and do these other things. But I mean, I had a brother, and if I wanted to play, I had to play with what he wanted to play with. And so I was a bit of a tom girl. And you couldn't tell me I couldn't do what the boys could do. I played sports, I played hard, and I would beat them. So, part of it for me was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to just be over there making mud pies or whatever else. Plus, I didn't like getting dirty like that. I wasn't trying to play in the mud. Yes, I had dolls. Yes, I had, those sorts of interests. I even had an easy bake oven. And you know what that is because I bought you one. For my younger people who may not know what the easy bake oven is, I think they're still around today, but it's a little baking kit. It's really powered by a 100-watt light bulb, and you make the little mixture and put it in there, and the heat from the light bulb bakes it, and then voila, you have this little personal sized tiny cake or whatever the little pastry is that you get, and you can choose to make a little icing for it or whatnot. But they had those little, but when you were a girl, you had girly toys. I remember thinking my brother had all the cool toys because he had like, G.I. Joe, the Kung Fu Grip. He had cool, like the remote control cars. And I think when we were growing up, they even had the little car that would go up the wall. Like, it would hit the wall and go up for a little bit. And then they even had, I think, wall racers.
That sounds cool.
They just had some fun toys, right? I mean, I like the dolls and everything, but, luckily I have the type of brother where we would play together. I remember things like, after a rain, we go outside and we play G.I. Joes in the mud, and it'd be in the trenches. And I was like, the only time I kind of played near the mud. And then, but what we did was when we went back in the house, then G.I. Joe had to get cleaned up because he had to go on a date with my Barbie. I mean, yes, he was to her knee, but we had good imagination. So that was for me. I didn't like the double standard. I didn't like that, my parents were very open that there was a double standard and that there were going to be days that my brother got to do things that I didn't do. I didn't think it was fair and I didn't like it, but, what can you do? Do you feel like there is still that sort of double standard for girls nowadays?
Yes.
Okay, tell me more.
Like maybe in a different sense.
Okay, help me understand.
Because it kind of brings me back to what I was saying about the contradicting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like with one of my friends, I'm not going to say their name, which
Good,
I forgot that we were on recording. I was about to. But no, like one of my friends, she was like arguing with this boy, and he called her a hoe, but then he got mad because she wouldn't do anything with her, which is really contradicting itself.
Yeah. So I can understand that. And I agree. I think too, there is something that I remember growing up that my mom told me, like, girls, our reputations are a lot more delicate than boys. Like, I think even now that still holds true. The way that it was explained to her, and she actually shared with me, made a lot of sense. She said that, denim, like that jean material, you can take a piece of denim and take it outside and put it on the ground, drag it all over the ground, run over it with a car, get it in the mud, throw it in the washing machine, as good as new, right? But if you take a piece of silk and do those same things to it, you ruined it. It's completely ruined. And that is very much how a woman's reputation is in a man's reputation. He can go out there and do all these things, and he's the man. If he's someone who is deciding that he doesn't want to engage in those sort of activities, then he's called these other names. He's a punk or a sissy or all these other things, right? Girls, they can't go out there and do all those things because they're definitely going to be called derogatory names. And I've seen girls transfer from one school to another one, and then one person from that school comes, and all it takes is that, because once they say, oh, that's that girl from my old school, she's a this, she's a that, and then now they're going for the whole thing all over again, and with this particular girl, there was a lot of cyberbullying. There was just, it was a lot. So it just is one of those things where your reputation is precious, and you just have to be careful. And I think, honestly, not just a sexual reputation, I think we should always be careful of our actual reputation, of, how we carry ourselves, how we present ourselves. I don't know. Does that make sense to you? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, about that question for your younger self. Or not even a question. So, if you could talk to, 12-year-old Addie. What advice? Do we not want to talk to 12-year-old Addie?
I'll talk to 12-year-old Addie. It's probably not going to make any sense, but...
What would you tell her if you had to write her a letter? What would it say?
Don't eat ice cream for breakfast. The cream cheese is actually butter. We are not straight. And they are not the best of friends, so we might as well start finding some new friends.
That's a lot. Poor Addie. Poor 12-year-old Addie. So you might have to write a detailed letter so that she can get it. So to friends,
and don't answer that person.
Oh my goodness. To friends listening, what encouragements do you want to give to other young women out there?
Just do your best. Okay. People are gonna talk crap. Just let them. As long as you know that you're better than them, that's all that matters.
Okay. And what about our believers, our sisters and brothers out there? What do you feel like it's important for them to know or to hold on to?
That things may seem hard, but they're going to get better. Sometimes you might feel like giving it up, but that giving up is not it's not the best thing that you can do, or not the correct answer. And your kids aren't always gonna be the way that you want them to be.
So they're not perfect. Is this for the adults then?
Okay. They're not perfect, but they try their best.
Okay.
Whether that's something you want to believe or not.
So maybe, do you think having compassion for our children and maybe even trying to remember what it felt like to be that age?
Yeah. But maybe don't just compare them to you at the age, oh, I was doing this when I was your age. I was doing this and that.
Noted. Thank you. I feel like that was for me, but I will take it. I get it. Okay. I mean, it's good to know, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And then we have a couple of minutes left, so maybe in a mental health professional, I do want to just ask, is there, to anybody out there who might be just struggling with any mental health issues whatsoever, what are some things that you could say to encourage those people?
And also, back to the Tokyo Avenger things, I don't think they've actually animated Hakai's sister yet. So this is just how she is in my mind based off the manga panels I've seen.
Okay, so kind of a headcanon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe she can beat up anybody if she really tries.
She probably could, but now Addie, is beating up anybody the right thing?
No, but being in a gang is also not the right thing.
This is true. Okay, so she's in a gang?
No, her brother's in a gang.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is that one anime you were telling me about
Tokyo
where
Avengers.
Okay, yeah. Don't be alarmed, folks. We aren't talking about real gang members, so. This is fun. So, before we end, just what encouragements for anybody struggling with anything emotionally or mentally, any encouragements there? What would you tell them?
It probably doesn't feel like things are going to get better, but things are going to get better at some point, whether it's even by a little bit, because sometimes that's how it works. Things will slowly start to get better just little by little. until you eventually feel like well enough to you can like go back to doing your everyday things, like going to school every day, going to work every day, hanging out with your family and friends.
What would you suggest somebody do to reach out for support? Like if they feel alone, they feel like they don't have anybody, is there any advice that
maybe talk to someone you trust about it.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the hotline. There's so many texts sometimes, but
the national the teen texting crisis line.
Yeah,
it's 741-741.
Yeah, so that's another thing you can do is text that number.
Have you tried it out yet?
No.
Okay, well maybe we'll play around with it. I think I'm gonna text it just because I want to know what the experience is like. When I tell somebody to try a resource, I kind of want to know what they're going to be experiencing when they do it, so that I can, kind of be that sort of support.
I don't know what's going on with the suicide prevention hotline, but they have been putting some people on hold.
Oh.
So if you call and they do that, probably try talking to somebody else that you trust.
Okay, well, I know here in San Joaquin County, there's a crisis line, which I believe is 209-468. I want to say 8600, but if not, you could always call 209-468-1000 and get the information. I know in Stanislaus County, it's 209-558-4600, the 558 number. And then, if somebody is really in distress, I always tell them you can either call 911 or, get to your nearest hospital and go to emergency room. They can actually help with people who are actively suicidal. But for people who just need to talk, there's usually like a warm line, and I can get those numbers out later. So, Addie, do you have any parting words or any last-minute encouragements? How do you choose to end our time today?
Maybe something you can do if you're feeling low self-esteem or not that good about yourself is start a journal and write down either how you're feeling, or get like another journal and like write down positive things about yourself. Or even like the school counselor suggested to me is like you get a notebook and you like write down your thoughts in it.
Okay. And did you find that helpful?
I find it helpful.
Okay.
Helps clear my mind.
I think that's a good idea too. So just kind of journaling to get it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and for agreeing to be on our little episode today. I greatly appreciated it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. I'd love to have you back. So thank you, friends, for joining us. We are signing off now. And as always, this is just Tamika. Hello, friends. If you or someone you know are struggling with suicidal thoughts, you may call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. And if you or someone that you know identify as being on the LGBTQIA continuum, you may call 1-866-488-7386 for the crisis line at the Trevor Project. You may text 678-678, or if you want to chat, you can go onto thetrevorproject.org and use the chat feature. For young people who like to text and not talk on the phone, you can text the word home or the word help to 741-741. And if you are a veteran and you want someone who understands what you're going through, or who is also a veteran, or who really have a specialty working with veterans, you may call 1-800-273-8255. Again, 1-800-273-8255 and press the number 1. You also have the option to text 838-255. Again, 838-255, and this is the Veterans Crisis Line. Take care, and as always, this is just Tamika.